What's that?
What do I have to look into that thing?
No. You do not.
My name is Scott, and I am an alcoholic. No. Alright. Many people ask, does it suck being adopted? But really, how do you answer that kind of a question? Sure, some things may suck about being adopted, but that's just life. From personal experience, I can say that it isn't that different from life from someone who isn't adopted. But there are many different ways and different types of adoptions, and with those different types of adoptions comes many different takes and perspectives from people. Likewise, the perspectives on the controversial topic of adoption or abortion doesn't sit well next to the option of adoption. My claim is adoption should be the way, and abortion shouldn't even be an option. There are many different ways a child is adoption, whether it is from another country or from the U.S. And through those different ways, there's two types of adoption: an open adoption and a closed adoption. An open allows for the kid to be in contact with their birth family, biological father, biological mother, and all that comes with it. And for a closed adoption, the child isn't so lucky. They can't have any contact with their family, biological family, because they want really nothing to do with the kid, which is kind of a bummer. And for a definition of an open adoption, it's where the adopted person has access to their file and their original records. This may be the right available to certain ages. At age 18, a person is adopted in the United Kingdom. A person adopted in the United Kingdom becomes automatically entitled to their birth certificate and may access their adoption records. Kids that are adopted have a chance at life through another family. Abortion eliminates that chance once the procedure is started. Abortion kills. It's that simple. It's a meaning of escaping a mistake, much like adoption. However, adoption allows for that so-called mistake to live and experience the many different challenges and aspects of life. From personal experience, being adopted isn't that bad. My sister and I were adopted at birth from two different families, and I'm fortunate enough to be in contact with my birth mom and my birth dad, and am able to kind of find out a little bit about my history and what I would have grown up, or how I would have grown up, and how it relates to how I grew up with my other parents. Growing up with my parents was kind of hard because it felt like I didn't really belong or fit in. I never really connected with them. I believe that although I did grow up with my parents, Tom and Debbie, my heart was kind of somewhere else. My parents told me that I was adopted when I was really young, but I didn't really understand. I grew up and understood a little more and more. And then I started asking questions about, how my life could have been, and when you're adopted, that's kind of like unbearable. You don't really know what to think. I wouldn't really change them for the world. I believe that although my parents, or that I was adopted, my parents that raised me were my true parents, and they gave me aid and always were there for me, and gave me, a roof to live under, and prepared me for life outside their walls. But it left me with a sense of wanting more, and to understand where I came from. And the perspectives of different views of adoptions from people are like puzzling. It seems as the years go by, more and more people are accepting or are in favor for adoption over abortion. The 2002 National Adoption Attitudes Survey finds that a large majority of Americans support adoption and a significant majority have considered adopting. A comparison of the 2002 and the 1997 survey results show that American support for adoption has increased in the past 5 years. At the same time, as times move on, the views of the generations kind of change, and so the negative side of it, the adopted families regularly report that negative comments from friends or strangers in front of the child. Some of these include, can you really love this child as your own? Maybe the baby's fussy because you aren't her natural mother. Stuff like that. People still hold true to that negative aspect. And when comparing and contrasting abortion and adoption, the two are complete opposites of each other. And in today's society, the controversy of adoption seems really minuscule to that of the controversy of abortion. One promotes life, the other promotes death. Special cases, like a rape victim or a baby being hazardous to the mother's health, see abortion through different eyes, which can also be seen as a justifiable cause, or can it? The whole topic brings about a sort of stalemate. For example, one might then argue the right to control one's own body in the case of abortion because the loss of one's life is greater loss than the loss of the right to control one's body in one's respect for 9 months. Don Marquis. In his essay, he merely points out the fact that when looking at abortion, although it is wrong, people seem to come up with reasons to fight back and create a draw between the two sides. People know that it's wrong, they just don't want to admit that it kills. They claim that the fetus has no right, it is not human, and it's not a human being until it is born or past a certain age. And so think about that for a second. That's like saying that you or I didn't exist in our parents' eyes until we were actually born. It's kind of a scary thing to think about, that these people think their own children are not human or didn't fully exist until they were ready to come out. So I guess this means nobody really knows if they're going to be a proud parent or not. But who are we to make that decision? Who are we to decide who lives or dies? Adoption seems to answer many of these questions. People may not like the idea, but it's a way of life. Adoption is defined in the Merriam-Webster dictionary as to take a child of other's parents as one's own. But really, who can define adoption except for those who have lived the life of being adopted? I don't believe that some definition from a dictionary or some survey can tell people how adoption is, or the feeling of being adopted, or what being adopted really means. To an adopted child, whether from a different country or the U.S., being adopted is the only life we pretty much know. We grow up, we love, and we hate, just like any other kid. However, the thing is, at least we are capable of loving and growing. Abortion eliminates these feelings by killing a child before it even has a chance. This is why I believe that adoption should be the route people take, and abortion should be eliminated from the equation.